Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a gingerbread man plushie. I will list the materials in the next slide and then we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so we're going to start with making the legs, and you will need to make two of them. So you're going to take your brown yarn and your crochet hook, and first we just need to make a slip knot. And then we're gonna do a chain of two. And then into that first chain, we're going to do 6 single crochet. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. And into the first single crochet that we made, we're going to put a single crochet into that stitch. And then you will need to mark this stitch with your stitch marker. Okay. And now we're going to go on to round 2, which will be an increase in each stitch. So we will have 12 single crochet at the end of this round. So that was our first single crochet into the first stitch. So we're going to need to put another single crochet into that same stitch. And then you'll just repeat by making an increase in every stitch. And I will meet you back at the beginning of round 3. Okay, so for round 3, you're going to take your stitch marker out, put a single crochet there, replace your stitch marker, and then this round it's going to be 2 single crochet and then 1 increase, and you will repeat that 4 times until you have 16 stitches. So that was the first single crochet. In the next stitch we're going to put a single crochet, and then in the third stitch you put an increase, and we'll repeat that pattern 3 more times. Okay, now at the end of round 3, we're going to take the stitch marker out and then put a single crochet in the first stitch of round 4 and replace your stitch marker. And now for round 4, it's just going to be 16 single crochet all the way around. The last stitch is going to be where we do our color change, so I will meet you at the very last stitch of round 4 to show you how to do that. So this is the last stitch of round 4. So you're gonna go pull up a yarn like normal. When you have 2 loops on your hook, this is where you're gonna grab your white yarn and put it on your hook like that. So we're kind of yarning over with white instead of brown. And then you just pull through, take your stitch marker out. And now I'm gonna show you a trick to get rid of the jog that will be there. If you just continued to like single crochet normally, you would get this kind of jagged edge. So I'm going to show you a trick to reduce the noticeability of that. So into this first stitch right here, we are going to, in the back loop only, put a slip stitch. So normally you go through both of these stitches like that, but instead of doing that, we're going to be just going into the back loop only. So that one right there. Okay, and doing a slip stitch, and then into the same stitch through both loops like normal, you would put a single crochet, and that's your first single crochet of round 5. So we're gonna replace your stitch marker there, and then at the end of this round we're going to skip the slip stitch and just crochet into the marked stitch. So for round 5, it's just going to be 16 single crochet all the way across. And I'm going to go ahead and cut my brown yarn. just to get it out of the way. Okay, so into this last stitch of round 5, we're going to color change the same way. So go through, pull up a loop, and then when you have 2 loops on your hook, you're going to take your brown yarn and yarn over with it. Okay, pull through. And then you're going to take your stitch marker out, but notice that slip stitch right there, we're skipping that. So take your stitch marker out and then into that marked stitch, you're gonna, in the back loop only, repeat what we did last round. So we're in the back loop only, do a slip stitch. And then in the same stitch through both loops of that stitch, you're going to put your first, whoops, it might be a little difficult. Okay. You're going to put your first single crochet of round 6 through that stitch, and then this is where you're going to place your marker. And then just remember, when you get to the end of round 6, you're going to be skipping that slip stitch again. You're just going to be going into the marked stitch. So now for rounds 6 through 11, you just do 16 single crochet all the way around, and so that's going to be 6 rounds total. You should still have 16 stitches at the end of the next 6 rounds, and I will meet you at the end of round 11. Okay, so I finished round 11, and when I got to the end, I just cut the yarn and pulled it through, and I put a little bit of stuffing in there, but this will be the left leg, so you can go ahead and cut the yarn. You really don't even need to leave an end that long. But then when you do the right leg, you are going to not cut the yarn. So do not cut the yarn, because we will be continuing with the body with this yarn. So you're just going to leave it exactly like it is. You can go ahead and stuff it a little bit, but I'm going to show you an easy way to get rid of these ends, and it's the same thing I did for this leg. So you can, wait until you're done with the entire thing and then weave in all the ends, but that just takes a lot of time, and I like to go ahead and get rid of some of that work now. So what I do is I just go through, go over a stitch and then pull it into the leg, and then just push that down, and it just becomes part of the stuffing. So just keep doing that with all the ends. When you get to these white ones, I kind of like to use the white yarn to kind of continue to conceal a little bit of that jog right there. So I'll just go over like this to cover up some of this brown, and just pull it into the leg. And then you just keep doing that with the rest of these ends. So now we've got the right leg and the left leg, and you're gonna need to, with the right leg, you want to single crochet 4 more past the marker. So you can keep this stitch marker in there if you want to, just in case you need to go back or pull stitches out, or if you need to count, just to be safe. I like to keep it there, and crochet or single crochet 4. So that's your first one, 2, 3, 4. And the reason we're doing this is basically just to get to the right spot so that we can attach it to the left leg, because you're gonna want this jog, the jagged edge, which is not super noticeable, but it still is a little bit noticeable. So we want it to be on the back. So this way you can line them up, and we've got the pretty side facing the front. So what you're gonna do is this end of the left leg, you can just kind of stuff inside, and then into that first stitch, the one the yarn's coming out of, or the one next to it, honestly, it doesn't really matter. You just line them up and then go through in the next stitch, go through on the right leg like that, and then go through that stitch on the other leg, and you're going to single crochet through both just like that to connect them. So yarn over, and this feels a little bit awkward, but just kind of make it work and go through, and now they are attached. So now what we're going to do is crochet along both of them. So with the left leg, we're going to crochet 15 more, so that counted as our first. So we need to kind of do 16 on each, and we'll end up having 32 stitches all the way around. So that was the first one. So on this leg, which would be the left leg, you're going to crochet 15 more across. So I will probably fast forward through this, but we're just going to be putting a single crochet, and then I'll meet you back when we get over here. So this is the 15th stitch. So go ahead and single crochet there, and then we're going to begin single crocheting along the right leg. So it's be kind of, again, it'll be kind of awkward, but you just want to, in the single crochet that was next to the one we used to connect it, so this one right here, the one just next to it, you're going to put a single crochet there. Okay, and then you're just going to keep single crocheting 16 along this right leg. 3, 16. Okay, so now we are going to count just to make sure you have 32, because this row is a little complicated, so you just want to make sure you have the right number of stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, now we're at the end of round 7, and as you can see, I'm just kind of stuffing it as I go. So I've already stuffed the legs, and I'm just kind of stuffing the body as it builds up more. So now that we're at the end of round 7, I'm going to show you what we're going to do for round 8. So take the stitch marker out and then put a single crochet there and replace it. And for round 8, it's going to be 2 single crochet and then a decrease, and we're going to repeat that 8 times until we have 26 stitches. So this is where we're kind of gonna decrease up until we get to the neck. So for the rest of this round, you're going to do, so that was the first single crochet, another single crochet, and then a decrease. So 2 single crochet, decrease, 2 single crochet, decrease, keep going until you have 26 stitches. Okay, so now this is the end of round 8. So for rounds 9 and 10, you're going to do 26 single crochet all the way around for 2 rounds. So it's just a single crochet in every stitch for the next 2 rounds. Okay guys, and I did misspeak. At the end of round 8, you should have 24 stitches, not 26. So for rounds 9 and 10, when you do the single crochet all the way around like I just did, you'll still have 24 stitches, not 26. So just disregard that. All right, so we're at the end of round 10 now. And what we're gonna do for round 11, I've already put my first single crochet in that stitch and replaced my stitch marker. So after you do the first single crochet, then you're gonna do a decrease. And you're gonna repeat that pattern 8 times until you have 16 stitches. So single crochet, decrease, and just keep going all the way around like that 8 more times, or 7 more times since we've done the first one, until you have 16 stitches. Okay, now we're going to go on to round 12, which is just a single crochet in every stitch. So just 16 single crochet all the way around. Okay, and at this point, before I continue with the head, I'm gonna just stuff the body some more. Okay, and you don't want to stuff it like all the way to the very, very top. You can get pretty close, but you just don't want to overstuff it and then not be able to have room to continue crocheting. So now we're going to go ahead and start with the head. So don't cut anything, keep your yarn, take your stitch marker out, and row 1 of the head is going to be 3 single crochet and then an increase. So that was our first single crochet. Oops. Now we're going to do 2 more. Okay, so now it's after the 3rd single crochet, you'll do an increase. And now we're just going to repeat that 4 times total, and you should have 20 stitches. So now you can take this stitch marker out, and for round 2, it's going to be 4 single crochet and then an increase. So single crochet in that first stitch, and place your marker, and then single crochet again, 3, 4, and then in that 5th stitch, you're going to do the increase and just let's see. All right, and then repeat that 3 more times, so 4 times total, until you have 24 stitches. All right, so now we're at the end of round 2. So take that one, the stitch marker out, and then put a single crochet and replace your stitch marker. And now we are going to go on to round 3, which is going to be 5 single crochet and then an increase. You'll repeat that 4 times and you should have 28 stitches. Okay, now we're at the end of round 3. So take your stitch marker out, place a single crochet, and then replace your stitch marker. And now for round 4, you're going to do 6 single crochet and then an increase. You're going to repeat that 4 times and you should have 32 stitches. All right, so now we're at the end of round 4. So take out your stitch marker, put a single crochet right there, replace the stitch marker. Okay, and now for rounds 5 through 7, you're just going to be doing a single crochet all the way around. So for 3 rounds total, you'll just be doing 32 single crochet for each of the next 3 rounds. And then I'll meet you back at the end of round 7. Okay, so now we're at the end of round 7, and you're just going to continue to stuff as you go. And you really want to make sure the neck is stuffed really, really firmly. So now I'm going to go ahead and go on to round 8. So take your stitch marker out and put a single crochet there. Oops. And then replace your stitch marker. And now for round 8, it's going to be 6 single crochet and then a decrease, and you're going to repeat that 4 times until you have 28 stitches. Okay, so now we're at the end of round 8, so go ahead and take your stitch marker out, put a single crochet there, and replace your stitch marker. Now for round 9, it's going to be 5 single crochet and then a decrease. You're going to repeat that 4 times and you should have 24 stitches. All right, so on this last decrease right here, we're going to be changing to white for the next round, so go ahead and do your decrease like you normally would. And you should have 3 loops on your hook, but instead of yarning over with brown, you're going to yarn over with your white. So the same way we did with like the legs, you're just going to put the white on your hook like that and pull through, and then take your stitch marker out, and we're going to do this the same way we did with the legs. So in the back loop only, do a slip stitch, all right, and then into that same stitch but through both loops, you're gonna put your first single crochet of round 10. So this is where you're gonna put your marker, and at the end of round 10 we would obviously need to skip that slip stitch the same way we did when we changed to white on the legs. So now for round 10, you're going to do 4 single crochet and then an invisible decrease 4 times to have 20 stitches. The reason we're doing an invisible decrease instead of just like a normal decrease is because it kind of stands out more since it's a white against the brown instead of it all just being one color. So I'll show you how to do that. So it's 1 single crochet, 2, 3, 4, and then to do an invisible decrease you would go in this front loop only of the next 2 stitches. So instead of going through both like that, you just go through this front loop and go through the front loop of the next one, and then do the decrease like that, and it'll still be kind of visible, but it won't be quite as noticeable as if you just did a regular decrease. Okay, so you're gonna continue that with the 4 single crochet and the invisible decrease until you have, let's see, we should have 20 stitches. Okay, so we're nearly done with round 10. We're gonna do our last invisible decrease, and then we're gonna pull up with our brown again to change colors. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this white off. And I actually need to cut the brown too because I didn't do that last round. Okay, so now we should have 3 loops on our hook, and just grab your brown, put on your hook like that, and then pull through. And now we're gonna skip that slip stitch that we did with the white and just go into the marked stitch in the back loop only. Do a slip stitch, and then in that same stitch but through both loops, you're gonna make your first single crochet of round 11. And then you're gonna place your stitch marker there. So now here I'm gonna kind of pause because we do need to add our safety eyes. So I'm using, I think these are 16mm glitter safety eyes. It has these like glitter backings that are really pretty. So you're gonna place your safety eyes about 3 visible stitches apart. So you should see 1, 2, 3 visible stitches in between them. And I think this is about it's about between rows 6 and 7 and 3 stitches apart. So go ahead and get your placement right, and then just put those on. Oops. All right, and now I'm gonna finish stuffing the head a little bit more. Okay, now we're going on to round 11. So I've done the first single crochet right there. So now we're going to do 3 single crochet. So 2, 3, and then a decrease, Okay, and then you're just going to repeat that all the way around, 3 single crochet and then a decrease, and you should have 16 stitches. Okay, and just remember we're going to skip the slip stitch that we made last round, and then just take the stitch marker out and place a single crochet in the marked stitch. Whoops. And that's where you're going to replace your stitch marker. And for round 12, it's going to be 2 single crochet, decrease. You're going to repeat it 3 times, and you should have 12 stitches. All right, and before we start row 13, I'm just going to stuff the head as much as I can. Okay, and round 13 is just going to be a decrease all the way around, and you should be left with 6 stitches. Okay, now you should be left with a little bit of a gap, so you can go ahead and finish stuffing if you need to. And then to close this, you're just going to leave a really long end, but you can go ahead and cut your yarn. And then pull that through. Okay. And then get your tapestry needle. And I'll show you how to close this. So you're going to be going into like 2 stitches at a time. So go through, and you really only need to go through like 1 loop of the stitch. So like that, and then into the next, like that, and then just pull it. And you're going to need to do that about 2 more times for it to fully close. All right, and then with this end, you can just go through another stitch that's right near it, and then just come out on the opposite side. Whoops. It's kind of tough because there's a lot of stuffing in there. Just pull through like that, and then pull on it a little bit tight. Get your scissors and just cut it. And this is fluffy yarn, so you have like little pieces of yarn that go everywhere. All right, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and do the same thing with these ends. Just get rid of them like that, and then we will go on to make the arms. Okay, so now we're gonna go on to do the arms. So you're gonna need to make a slip knot with your brown yarn, and then we're gonna chain 2 and put 6 single crochet into the first chain. Okay, and then in the first stitch, you're going to do a single crochet and place your stitch marker. And then we're going to do another single crochet in the next stitch, and then an increase. So 2 single crochet and then an increase. And you're going to repeat that. And you should have 8 stitches. Okay, so we're going to take that out, single crochet, place your stitch marker, and then this is going to be 8 single crochet for round 3, but on the very last stitch we're going to change colors. Okay, so on this last stitch right here, you're going to pull up 2, so you have 2 on your hook, and then with your white we're going to change the color, just like that. And then you're going to take out your stitch marker and put a slip stitch in the back loop only of that stitch. And then in the same stitch, but through both loops, you're going to put your first single crochet of round 3, or actually 4, sorry. Okay. And then put your marker in that stitch. And then when we come back around, we're going to skip that slip stitch. So now for round 4, it's just a single crochet. Okay, in our very last stitch of round 4, we're going to come up like this, get our brown, which I need to cut. I'll go ahead and cut the white. So yarn over with brown, and just like we've done on all the other color changes, we're going to take our stitch marker out, skip that slip stitch into the back loop only, okay, and then do your first single crochet of round 5 and that same stitch with both loops. So like that, and then that's where you're going to place your marker. And then just remember at the end of round 5, you're going to skip that slip stitch. So now for rounds 5 through 9, you're just going to be doing single crochet the whole way. So 8 single crochet for the next 5 rounds. And when we get to the end of round 9, I will meet you back. Okay, so we finished rounds 5 through 9, and you're just going to go ahead and stuff your arm about 3/4 of the way to the top and get rid of any loose ends. And now for round 10, you're going to take your stitch marker out, and we're going to hold both of these open ends together like this. And now we're going to close it, so you need to go through both stitches on each side. So you should be doing this 4 times, like 1, 2, 3, 4. Go through both and do a single crochet along the top. So that was the first one. Doesn't have to be 4. If you can get it to close just in 3, that's fine. And that is really all you do for the arms. We just need to cut this, so leave a pretty long end because you will need to have a long end for sewing onto the body. So leave a long end and then just pull that through. And now we are ready to sew them onto the body. Okay, so to attach these arms, you're going to take your tapestry needle and thread it through like this. And then we're going to be sewing these between the head and the neck. You just want the good side. So this is where we did the color change. So you want that to face the back and then the good side to face the front. And just try to get it as kind of close to like the middle, like right here, like in line with like the legs as you can. And then to sew this on, you literally just go through the arm like that, and then go through the neck, and then come out again on the arm. Okay. Hopefully y'all saw that. Okay. Yeah, just keep doing that a bunch more times until it's firmly attached, and you would repeat and do the same thing with the other arm. Okay, so now we have the arms sewn on. We just need to do the finishing touches, which is the facial features and then the buttons. So we're going to start with the eyebrows, the cheeks, and the mouth. So from the eyes, you're going to kind of go directly above here and then down between this stitch right here. So just go through a random stitch and then come out right there. Okay, and then go across to where you want the eyebrow to be, and then back in that same stitch right there. Okay. And then if you want them to kind of stand out a little more, you can go over it again. Okay, now we're gonna do the cheeks. So the cheeks are gonna be kind of like directly below and off center to where the eyes are. So kind of underneath the eyebrows is where you want them to start. So kind of draw a line from the eyebrow down directly below like the next row underneath the eyes. So this is the stitch I'm gonna come up through. And then just go over a space or two. So you kind of eyeball it, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna go through about right here. So that's about 2 stitches over. And I'll go back over that about 4 times. Then you're just gonna carry your yarn over and do the same thing underneath this eye. Okay, and I just realized I didn't record doing the smile, but basically you just want to make a V shape with your black yarn, similar to how we did the cheeks, except you're just going in 2 spaces like this, down to a point to make a V, and that's your smile. And you can go over it twice if you want it to stand out more, and then you just get rid of the ends. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to do the buttons to go on the gingerbread man. So you'll need your medium 4-weight yarn and then a different size hook. I'm using 4.5, and then you're going to do a magic circle. So get your yarn like this, and then in the magic circle you're going to do 6 single crochet. Okay, and then that first single crochet, you're going to go through that stitch and then do a single crochet right there, and this is where you would put your stitch marker. And now you're just going to do an increase in every stitch, so you should have 12 stitches. Okay, take your stitch marker out, and you're going to put a single crochet and then an increase all the way around until you have 18 stitches. Okay, so take your stitch marker out and then just slip stitch into the next stitch. And you're going to want to leave a long end so that you can sew this onto the body. Okay. And now you're going to repeat with the maroon colored yarn. Okay, so now that we have both of our buttons done, you're going to go ahead and kind of place them where you want them to go. So I'm going to try to get them about right there. So the green one I'm going to start on first. And if this piece of yarn is going to get in your way, just go ahead and get rid of it by going like this. Threading it through. And we'll just come out wherever. So now to attach the buttons onto your gingerbread man, you're just gonna, with your tapestry needle, go through the button and then through the gingerbread man like this. Like that. You're gonna go through the button, through the gingerbread man underneath it, and then out through the button at a different spot. And pull like that, and you will continue doing that all the way around the button, just, you know, however many times it takes to get the button really on there. And it's kind of a tedious process, but once you got it all on there good and kind of tug on it a little bit and it doesn't move, then you're good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this button and the maroon button. All right, so we got the buttons on there, and that is really all there is to this video. So I hope you enjoyed watching. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.